All right, we are ready to go.
Ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 10:15 a.m. And I will read the land acknowledgement. The city of Thorold is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Hattaway-Damrock, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The city of Thorold stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands in which we live. Okay, I'm going to go to item number 3, declaration of interest. Are there any declarations of interest? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to go to item number 4, adoption of the agenda. Can I get a mover and a seconder to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Linda and seconded by Councillor O'Hare. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Okay, that is unanimous. In favor. Item number 5, adoption of the minutes, 5.1 ECC BAC 13-2023, December 1st, 2023 meeting. Can I get a mover and a seconder to adopt the minutes? Moved by Leslie and seconded by Councillor O'Hare. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Seeing none, that is unanimous in favor. Correspondence, item 6.1 CLK-C 95-203. This is regards to the memo that went to council at, I believe, the November 21st meeting that came from the clerk's department, making changes to some of the committees, and our committee was affected in that our meeting schedule was going from 12 down to 6. I'm going to call on Councillor O'Hare to do a little bit of a discussion on this before I add any more to it. Is that okay, Tim?
I can also explain it if Councillor O'Hare, or
okay.
if Councillor O'Hare wishes, it's fine.
Oh, please, Justin, please go ahead. Thank you.
So, yeah, at the meeting on December 12th, council voted to reconsider the motion, basically to allow you to have 12 meetings. That was passed. And then the way it works is at the next council meeting, so that'll be the 16th, is when they will vote to decide to change it. Basically, what happens is they voted to reconsider, and then we're in the reconsideration phase is the best way to put it. So right now, members of the public, councillors can reconsider it, can delegate to it, and so forth. And then it will be officially voted on the 16th of January meeting. So that's why it wasn't done right away, because to allow that reconsideration time.
And what has been part of that reconsideration, Justin? Are we likely to get the 12 meetings or not?
I won't speak for council, but I don't think there was any opposition to it. But Councillor O'Hare could speak to that.
That's what I wondered.
Leslie, go ahead. You have something to say?
Okay. You might not see opposition to it right now, but the fact that it's open to the public for reconsideration has never been told to the public, and you're going to have a vote on council, and this was discussed yesterday amongst a number of us. You're having a council rubber stamp stuff that never went to the public. And we fought very hard back in 1980 to get public participation as part of decision-making process. So there wasn't opposition when the decision was made. And the way this has been set up and is continuing to be set up with the meetings telling us how it's going to work after they voted on the reconsideration. We should have been allowed, everyone should have been allowed a chance to discuss that issue and how that affects volunteerism in Thorold. So I think it's It's a problem when anyone says, I don't think there's opposition out there. That's what happened with Walker Brothers Forest back in 1980. And when we were told that, we set out to prove that, yes, there was. The problem was we hadn't been notified so we could express our views at the right part of the process.
If I could just add something, Leslie, I met with Matthew back in December and had a discussion related to why this decision was made, because you're right, we were never consulted. We should have been, the clerk's department should have reached out to us and said what their plans were. If they felt that there was staffing issues that were being impacted, and that's not our problem that they're understaffed. But if they needed to pull back staff and change our schedule, we should have had an opportunity to provide input and to support our position on why we needed to stay with the 12 meetings a year. And this was just, it was like an arbitrary decision that was made by the clerk's department. So I did make a presentation to council in their December meeting, and basically my presentation was more or less a wrap up of what we have accomplished over the past year. Everything that we've done has pretty well been done without putting too much of a burden on staff. And I pointed out that the members that we have on this committee, a lot of us, if somebody comes to this meeting and they raise something that they'd like to bring on as an initiative, we've often been doing the research ourselves. Everybody on this committee is just that type of a person. And then we come back to the next meeting, we start comparing notes, and we work through that until it reaches a point where maybe we do need to get staff involved. So I pointed that out to, that was what I mentioned in the presentation to council, and I also mentioned that to our clerk. And so the decision that I got from Matthew boiled down to the staff rep that we have, and we've had many. It's been a problem with all the committees with the revolving door in City Hall and trying to keep staff employed. We don't have a staff rep that has an environmental background. And the idea was to give this staff rep an extra amount of time to do research, to get back to the committee. And in the meantime, during this 2-month period, if we had working groups, it gave the working groups a little bit more time to work through that problem too. So at the end of the meeting with Matthew, he basically told me the schedule could go through and still have us saying we're going to have 6 meetings a year, but I still have the right to call a meeting. And he knows that I will, and we will have our 12 meetings. But this is going to go to council, and it's up to me and our committee basically to persuade our council reps that sit on here to put forward the message to the rest of the councilors when they put it up for vote that we do need to continue meeting on a monthly basis. We're really finding our footing as a committee, and we're going to see a lot more work coming down the pipeline in the future. Mark and I have been making great inroads in getting outside contacts that are feeding us a lot of information and a lot of ideas that we're going to be bringing to these meetings. And, you know, we've got a strategic plan that's currently being worked on right now. So there's going to reach a time where we're going to be asked for input to community energy program on that strategic plan. So it's important that we continue to meet on a monthly basis. I see Connor's got his hand up. Go ahead, Connor.
Yeah, Joseph, I just wanted to let you know that I am the staff representative for this committee, and I maybe it's my fault that you didn't recognize that I have an environmental background. But just to introduce myself again to the committee, I was an environmental planner for about 5 years prior to coming to the city of Thorold. I see you laughing, but I'm just trying to let you know.
Okay,
Yeah, I worked on environmental assessments for some of the largest infrastructure projects across Ontario.
okay,
I'm here to help the committee, and it seems like there's maybe a disconnect between what the committee wants from staff, and yeah, I guess I want to help build that relationship up, and if
I'm
there's
sorry about that. It's just, yeah, Matthew basically told me that we didn't have anybody in staff that could deal with this. So I think that's where there's a misstep. But oh, it's great that you got the background. So now I see there, we've got you. So we should be continuing with monthly meetings. You'll be able to help us out. I'm sure that you'll be able to get back in a timely fashion to keep the flow of this committee working. Thank
yeah,
you.
and I guess I'll just say, from my perspective, regardless of the whatever is decided with the number of meetings, I'm here to be a resource to the committee. If I don't have the answers that you're looking for, we're willing to go back and work with my colleagues and try to get you that information and keep the committee going forward.
Great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Leslie, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I guess we're talking about this committee here, and I knew that you had done all that work, and that's great. But there are a whole bunch of other advisory committees that have been put together for a reason, I assume, by council. They've all been operating, like you said, the problems that exist are not our problem. The fact that they've had to have major changes of staff has affected all the committees. And this is why we're at a point right now where this is going to be off the board. Nobody's going to be talking about it anymore after the 16th. So then at the end of the month, they're going to have 2 workshops to teach the people in the other committees what they've decided to do to the structure that has existed, isn't a problem, has done great work for HFRED. All their committees have, and it's because of volunteerism. And if they don't start asking for comment, they didn't ask you. You found out that there was going to be a change for us, and you went to them. That's proactive. That is not what they should be doing.
You're right.
They have to start considering the public, because this issue is not going to go away. There are too many ramifications of making the changes that they're suggesting, and there's more to this than I can talk about right now.
Yeah.
So they need to address it. They're being good with you, but don't be surprised. All of a sudden everything turns upside down, and it's even worse for the committees.
It's unfortunate because when I recall when I was on the Heritage Committee, no, I guess it was on the Environment Committee when Ava Salter was on the committee, and I was at her house one day. We were talking about some issues, and we were talking about heritage because we were both on the Heritage Committee at the same time. And Ava was asking about what her responsibilities were as a committee member, because she'd never been on a committee. And I told her that 4 years earlier, we had a training session at the Senior Center, and that was conducted by Donna DeVacchio at the time. She was the city clerk. And that gave us our operating methods and how we were supposed to conduct ourselves, how council meetings or committee meetings operated, quorums, voting, motions, and stuff like that. And I still had my workbook from, I believe I saved it because I was on the Tourism Advisory Committee as the vice chair at the time. And I loaned it to her, and I said, you're right, the city really should be, because you've got all these new committees set up, there's a lot of new people, and there should be some kind of a training. Well, it's unfortunate that okay, they're going ahead and the training is going to be done this month, but here people have been operating on committees and not really knowing what their responsibilities were. And there's been changes made to committees, and now they're going to do some training. And are these people going to come back and want to contribute now, or are they Justin, you've got your hand up. You're going to probably provide some clarification here.
Well, I'll just mention basically the items you noted are going to be in the training. What is committees, how to members operate, motions, the agendas, those basic things. And after the training as well, we'll have a full manual with all that as well, with the different, but what it means to be a committee member and all those things that mostly will be covered in training. Another thing I'll mention is that I know Councillor O'Hare mentioned he had to leave in about 10 minutes. And once we lose one member, we'll lose quorum. So my recommendation is we might want to move on if you want to form this working group before we run out of a quorum.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, great. Okay, so we can wrap that up. I think we're pretty clear on this is going to council, hopefully council and Councillor O'Hare. Tim, you got your hand up?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So just for clarification, it is in fact the 12 meetings per year that you're requesting from council.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, then I'm going to quickly move on going to committee business, the Earth Day Working Group. This is the proposal that I put forward to the city. I met with Jeff Holman back just before Christmas time. And what I found out through Jeff told me that for this to move forward with the community services department going to be working with me on this, that I have to form a working group. And that will go to council for the January 16th meeting for approval. And then once that's approved, then the workings of putting together the Earth Day event can go forward. I wanted to talk a bit about what I basically had, but I'm willing to participate in this working group. I've already lined up a lot of vendors that mostly are on the education side. I do have a couple that are retail vendors that have the type of product that would fit with this event. We do have Councillor Settons put forward a motion to do a tree giveaway. I think the city's going to go with that. I have to find out from Jeff Holman at my next meeting with them. So I think this could be a really good event. Sorry for being so brief on this, but I know Leslie, you emailed and offered to participate also on this working group. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, if there's anybody else on this committee right here would like to volunteer also, I see Councillor O'Hare has his hand up. I believe I can have a number that does not exceed quorum. So I'm going to ask a question to Justin. Justin, am I allowed to recruit somebody that's from the public that isn't a member of this committee that might be able to bring some expertise to assisting in organizing this event?
Yep. So yes, for a working group, you can have up to 4 members of this committee, and then you can bring in other members of the public who may have specialization in the item that you're looking for, or other committee members from other committees, for example. That might relate to this, or from outside organizations
okay,
as well,
so
that
they
might
don't
relate as well.
Okay, so they don't affect the quorum then because they're not part of the committee. Oh, great.
That's right. So no more than 4 from this committee, and then beyond that, it's fine.
Okay, who had their hand up first? Was it O'Hare, Councillor O'Hare, or Carrie?
Carrie.
Go ahead.
I don't know that I can commit to being officially part of the working group, but happy to maybe meet with the working group a couple of times to just see how the MPCA can support the Earth Day event. So perhaps we can work together on like tree giveaway or even just promoting the event and that kind of thing. So I depending on how often you expect to meet and if there's still room, we can, So I'm not sure that I can commit to being fully part of the working group, but happy to support the event and work with the group.
Okay, now I think I had asked you earlier on, would the MPCA be able to have a booth at the event?
Depending on the day that you're like, are you planning to have it on Earth Day?
No, the 20th of April, which would be a Saturday.
Yeah, we potentially could. We just that week tends to be a lot of community events, so we kind of have to spread ourselves around as much as we can with the staff available. But because it's a new event and we haven't been to an event in Thorold, because I know about it now and not on April 1st, I can ensure that we can make room for that in our schedule.
Okay, I'll keep you in the loop and try to get some confirmation from you in the future. Okay, Councillor O'Hare, you got your hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So I just want to confirm, similar to Carrie, is that perhaps I should also just take a role where I can attend whenever my schedule opens up. I know that I may miss some meetings, and I'm just wondering, Mark is not here, and I know he's a great enthusiast, so I don't want to take someone's position. So maybe you should keep me as a name where I can drop in when I certainly have the time, and I'd love to.
Sure. Like we're still gonna have the February meeting, which is going to be only just a couple of weeks away. So if I can get just a couple of members confirmed right now to put to a vote, and then at the next February meeting, I might have a little bit more of an idea of how often we may want to have a meeting. And if we need to add a couple more people from this committee, then we can do that. I've got a couple people in mind outside of the committee that I want to approach because they could bring quite a bit to the committee. I can't mention their names right now because I haven't asked them, but I do like to have as many people as possible that can bring some input and some ideas and help this move along in a timely manner. So then I guess I need so I've got you got Leslie's committed, right? Okay. Justin, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, just clearing up who was joining. I have Leslie and you, Joe.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
so that's two. We can have two more from this committee. I don't know if you want to sign up Mark or not, but I don't know if he expressed any.
No, because I think I can at least get this to council to have the working group started. Can I add?
And sorry, and I'm clear what Mr. Holman was saying, because we don't need to bring this working group to council. It's not needed. You can form your own working groups. That's not required. I'm not really sure what he was saying, but as far as we don't need to bring a working group to council or anything.
Okay, I'm just repeating what Jeff Holman.
Sorry, I'm not sure what he said. So unfortunately,
he said I had to have a committee formed and then a working group formed and then council approved it. Okay.
No, we don't need to do those steps. We can just form our own working group and do our own thing through the committee.
Okay, let's go with myself and Leslie. I'm going to send out some emails this morning to a couple of the outside people. Would I need committee approval to add them to the group?
No, let's do a motion or a seconder to form a working group, and then from there you can add members.
Oh, okay.
I move we form a working group.
Okay. And can I get a seconder for that? Gary? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Great.
Okay, so as of right now, I have Leslie and Chair, Joe, as the members. And then at the next meeting, if you need to add more of our committee members, that's fine. This will stand as a regular update for each meeting going forward. So then you can provide an update at our following meetings, and then any committee-wide decisions and so forth that need to be made, obviously we do those at our regular meetings as well.
Okay.
And I guess any special meetings that are required for this that we really need to have, then that is possible as well.
Okay, great. Carrie, you've got your hand up.
I just have a question about process for the working group. If is it going to be this group's Earth Day event, or is it a City of Thorold Earth Day event? And how do we, as a if the working group, decides something, how do they check in with the staff to make sure there's budget and that kind of stuff to go along with it? Maybe just a clarification on the process.
I'm going to reach out to Jeff Holman now and let him know that we've established a working group, so I can at least sit down with him again. I'll try to get in early next week and then get his position on how we function as a working group and how we coordinate with. He mentioned that we'd be coordinating also with Dave Baldoni and Jacob Tedesco I believe. So there would be the three of us. They would be the
Yeah,
community service staff rep.
assuming there'll be a lot of staff support needed to help deliver the event. So I just want to make sure that we can't over promise things as a working group and then the staff can't support it.
Yeah, because I got to find out where the money's coming from. We have to do some calculations, that type of thing. I did talk quite a bit about what we were supposed to be doing, and I can give you an update through an email once I get some more information from Jeff. I'll send an email out to everybody on what we've got, and that'll be before our next meeting, so I'll give you a heads up. Okay, I guess Councillor O'Hare is going to be jumping out of the meeting shortly, so I'm going to skip the roundtable discussion. If everybody's okay with that, we'll just defer that. And I'm going to go to our next meeting. Will be held on February 2nd, 2024. And there being no further business, this meeting is adjourned at 10:41.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay.